Welcome back to JKPRising. On December 7th, I uploaded a video called Dead Space 4 Needs Horde Mode, and ever since then, I've been getting some pretty awesome comments from fans of Dead Space that have been saying, oh, this is what Horde Mode should be like, this is what it should be like this, oh, we should have this game mode in here, oh, we should be doing this in Horde Mode. So there was a lot of comments talking about stuff that I never even thought about, that I thought was way better than anything I came up with in the video. So for this video, it's Dead Space 4 Horde Mode again. I think Dead Space 4 should have a Horde Mode. I think that would be so awesome. If they don't have multiplayer in the game, they should at least have a Horde Mode where you can fight waves and waves and waves of necromorphs, and have boss waves where you can fight the Hive Mind, the Nexus, or the Tormentor from Dead Space 2. I'll be leaving comments of what people wrote on the previous video talking about Dead Space 4 Horde Mode and what they want to see in the game mode, and I'll give my thoughts on those comments right now. Alex Hartman comments, I think it would be cool to have the Regeneration Necromorph chase you in a Horde Mode. Dead Space 1 we had the Hunter, Dead Space 2 we had the Ubermorph, and Dead Space 3 we had the Regenerator. So that would be pretty sweet to have an enemy that was always on you in the campaign haunt you throughout the entire Horde Mode. Maybe there's a section where you have to defend a point from Regenerators or Ubermorphs or Hunters that will never leave you alone because they're always there. I replied to him asking him which one he would like to see, the Hunter, the Ubermorph, or the Regenerator, and he said the Uber or the Regenerator, which is kind of interesting because I thought the Hunter was pretty creepy in Dead Space 1. Then someone else replied, it would be nice, for example, when it appears you are given an objective to initialize a device that will blow up the place you are in or just burn up the Regenerator. While you are activating the different parts, you have to defend them from different Necros and, of course, the Regenerator. Like I said, defending a point like King of the Hill from Halo, but you gotta keep people out of the hill. Otherwise, if they get in, unlike in Halo where the enemy scores points, if they get in, they're gonna like destroy the points. So it's kind of like generator defense from Halo. A Horde mode, or more like a survival mode like it was in Dead Space, mode with 3 different maps and 2 modes, endless and timer. Basically endless waves surviving as long as you could, and the timer getting as much points as you could, maybe within 2 to 5 minutes. There were only 4 maps, however. Titan Mines was a bunch of different necromorphs, some sort of small room from the water filtration area from the campaign, some sort of circular room with a corruption pillar in the middle with exploders only spawning, and finally a 0G area. Same thing was basically from Extraction, although it was rail based and very limited. This could really explore different possibilities with this mode, maybe take some influence from Call of Duty Zombies. One thing I didn't like about multiplayer maps in some games like Halo's, where they would take stuff from the campaign and rip it into the multiplayer, because in previous Halo games they would never do that. Everything would be completely brand new maps designed for multiplayer. However, with Dead Space, since the entire campaign is you killing necromorphs in literally every room of the entire game, I wouldn't mind if they took stuff from the campaign and implemented it into multiplayer. It would be nice to have original multiplayer Horde mode maps. And then he mentioned 0G, which, like I said, needs to happen. 0G is a must for Horde mode. Flying through the air, necromorphs flying through the air. Maybe there's a section where you have to defend from that Regenerator, as I mentioned before, but you fail, and then it blows up that section of the map, causing the window to break, and then you're now in space. Now the entire Horde mode is now in 0G, which makes it a lot better. Maybe the blasters are going to close down after a timer, but you have to survive that long before all those necromorphs get to you, because if the timer runs out and if you die, then you die. But if the timer runs out and you defeat all the necromorphs, then it vacuum seals the room, and now it's no longer zero gravity. He goes on to say, if they introduce a PvP and a PvP modes, I think they should bring back co-op campaign. Playing Dead Space 3 in co-op was really fun. With more horror elements, it would not ruin the scariness of the game. I knew there was going to be an audience out there that liked what Dead Space 3 offered to the series. It did take away some of the horror aspects, so you have someone there with you. Like he said, if they put more elements into the game that scare you, I think horror could balance it out. I think it'll be a great test for Dead Space 4 if they want to tackle it. How can they balance cooperative play with horror and still keep it Dead Space without taking away the horror elements, because now you have a secondary player by your side. The mention of split screen, that should be good for Dead Space as well when it comes to cooperative play, local cooperative play as well as online cooperative play, but local split screen for Dead Space 4 Horde mode. Local land partying. Can you imagine that? I remember way back in the day I went over to my friends' houses. So we would have like Xboxes set up all over the place, or PlayStations, whatever game you guys played. But we played Halo and we had LAN parties, man. Dead Space 4 should support local split screen play so we could have cooperative campaign stuff and cooperative Horde mode as well. A Horde mode would be dope as fuck. Just a modern mode where weapons and armor can be upgraded and crafted from resources dropped from enemies. That's pretty cool. I thought that was an awesome idea. And we are awarded for each round, and enemies are tougher where everyone chooses different classes and have different weapons and abilities. So this could be kind of like Evolve, where we take different classes and each one is a heavy class, light class, speed class, healer class, or we could just have people who adopt different classes on the fly by switching weapons on the fly. And classic mode where only classic weapons and abilities are allowed, but the rig and weapons can be upgraded via power nodes, just like Dead Space 1 and 2. That's awesome. That's awesome. A classic mode for Dead Space, I approve of that, and that's a great way to bring back power nodes from Dead Space 1 and 2 because they were absent in 3. Structure it kind of like War of Cybertron's escalation mode, where you through waves, rounds, and sets while you upgrade your stuff between fighting and unlocking new areas or hack your way into new areas and expand the map, just like zombies from Call of Duty. There is hacking in Dead Space 2 and 3, so we could have that where you could open up brand new modes, brand new areas. So it's like Warzone from Halo 5. We're taking elements from a lot of games and we're combining it for like a Dead Space version. Warzone lets you open up different modes as you progress through the game, and then Zombies again lets you progress through the game as you're fighting waves and waves and waves of people behind you or zombies behind you. So that would be cool to expand the survival / horde mode in Dead Space by accomplishing different objectives. But just like the outline in Call of Duty Zombies or the outline in Warzone, where it's the same thing every single time, or mostly the same thing every single time, let's make it to where you have different choices every single time. So let's add some Deus Ex customization in there, where you can pick a path. So if you screw up this one path, all is not lost. You can try path 2 or 3, and there's so many outcomes, and replayability falls into line there too. Throw in some more customization like Last Till You Die, or complete X amount of waves, rounds, or sets, and you could totally have a boss fight like Escalation. At the end, depending on what map you're playing on, there is so much potential here. Customization is always a good thing. I think they should definitely bring back the customization from Dead Space 3, where you can make your own custom weapons. There could be benches set around different checkpoints in the Horde mode map. And Adventure mode, where you can discover markers and other planets and necromorphs. So this could be a brand new game mode itself, or it could be a subdivision of Horde mode. You go around and discover artifacts in the Horde mode game type, like you're progressing through a level like in Call of Duty Zombies. The artifact you could find could either be markers, maybe it could be vital intel to discovering how to stop this infestation, but it's through the Horde mode objectives. Maybe you could get necromorphs on your side. There could be an ability where you could control necromorphs and they would fight alongside you. A 4-player mode would be amazing, and raid bosses like groups of regenerators or a swarm of stalkers. Stalkers are those creepy little bastards that always chase you through the levels. I would love to see them kind of be like the grunts from Halo, where there's always a lot of them. And I know that's kind of pestering, but that's the point of Horde mode, to hold out as long as you can. And those guys are really annoying to deal with. It would be a cool way to implement stalkers into Horde mode. Maybe bonus rounds like in Firefight, but in this case, instead of grunts everywhere, there's stalkers everywhere. And instead of them stalking you, they're bomb rushing you. I would love to see a Horde mode in Dead Space 4. That would be amazing. But in my opinion, there should not be just fighting necromorphs, but solving problems like little random puzzles as well. So for example, you are trapped in a spaceship and waves of necromorphs are attacking you, but sometimes the generator goes off or the air supply fails, and one of the team has to go fix the problem to save the whole team while the others are defending him. That's really cool. I do like that idea. The difference to the Dead Space 2 multiplayer would be that the game mode wouldn't have an ending till all players are dead. Okay, so you can't survive that mode. Pretty cool. So there could be like a Horde mode where you can survive a time limit, and then maybe there's a survival mode where it's like Horde mode, but there is no time limit. It just goes on until you're all dead, which could go on for hours. Another great idea would be to create a Dead by Daylight-like game mode where one of the players becomes an Ubermorph and hunts the other players in a closed area. So it's like Infection from Halo. I'm not sure if you would become a Necromorph after you're killed, or if you're just in and out, you get one life and that's it. The game mode could be extended by adding skills for the Ubermorph, like calling Necromorphs for help, which would cause Necromorphs to appear in near vents, or sending hallucinations to other players to confuse them. What do you think about this idea? I think that's a very, very good idea, man. That's really cool. One thing that I could add to that is, say there's a lot of people, right, and the Ubermorph goes around and kills people. Those dead players, instead of having that one life, one time only thing, maybe if the Ubermorph decided to use one of those abilities to call back the Necromorphs, he could call back the players he killed, and now the players that were originally survivors are now Necromorphs, and now it's like a reverse infection. And if a Horde mode becomes a thing, I hope players or teammates that die while others survive become Necromorphs. That way the game mode won't be just fighting AI, but other people that can come up with new strategies to make it seem more challenging. Took the words right out of my mouth. So that's it, guys. Those are the comments that were left on the original Horde mode video. If you guys have any other suggestions that were not covered in this video, by all means write your comments in the comments section below. I might make another video like this where I take comments from videos and explain it and give my thoughts on it. So this is the definitive Horde mode that we want as Dead Space fans. If you like what this Horde mode could be like, leave a like on the video. Thank you so much for watching. Dead Space 4, Dead Space, BioShock, Halo content on JKPRising. Subscribe to JKPRising. Join the Dead Space 4 movement. Hashtag make us whole again. Hashtag Dead Space 4. Tweet, message, email, contact, phone number, EA Visceral Games, and Dead Space. Let them know we want Dead Space 4. My name is James of JKPRising. Have a great day. See ya.